y'all doing? This is Bill, Gig on TV. I'm here with One Hood Media. We're hanging with Brother Ali, and he's about to go on stage and do his thing here in Pittsburgh. I think y'all just left Minneapolis.
We just left, man. We've been on tour for 3 weeks, man. Almost 4. Indianapolis.
Oh, Indianapolis. I actually used to live over that way.
Okay.
But you're from Minneapolis, right?
From Minneapolis.
Yeah. So what happened with you and Prince? I heard that Prince heard one of your cuts, and then the first couple minutes he turned it off because it had cussing in it or whatnot.
That's it. That's the whole story.
So would you ever do a cut with Prince? Was that what y'all was trying to do?
No. It was just a friend of mine that had a record label, and he was friends with Prince. I've had a few friends actually. I'm friends with a few people that are in his camp,
right? And
they're all like, I want to show him your music, you know, but it just doesn't really.
So
it's one of those things where like I've never been a guy to want to like push my way on people.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like if it's meant, then it'll happen. I just make myself available.
Right. So you just got bars forever though. I'm gonna tell you this though, when I really keyed into your music was that Uncle Sam got me. I spread that on Facebook, my friends picked it up and they was checking it out. Some of them was even like, thanks for showing me this cut, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What were you thinking when you wrote that cut? What was going through your head? Because it's so precisely written as far as everything that you might see as far as conspiratorial wise with the government and corporations. What was going in your head when you dropped
that? Now, like lately, I put that out like 5-6 years ago. Since then, I've come to be known as like a political artist.
Right.
But at that time, I wasn't. I was doing more like autobiographical, like life music.
Right.
It's about life, and so that was like the one song that I'm just commenting on what's going on in my life. But then also that was during the beginning of the Iraq War.
Right.
Or not the beginning, but like the height of it. Bush was still in office, and we had all this fake patriotism. And so I wanted to make a song, especially for my fans, for my listeners, talking about the dark side, the night side of America's reality, history and present. You know what I mean?
Well, not everybody's conscious like that now. I mean, most people go on the rah-rah patriotism side. What made you any different than everybody else that made you see?
Well, I think anybody that's marginalized and oppressed, we already know the deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, you don't have to convince poor people, black people, brown people, red people. You don't have to convince us that you know what I mean? Like, we don't need a whole lot of convincing that the government is on some bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right. So, but you see the conspiracy side of it also.
Yeah, to a degree. I mean, none of the stuff that I mentioned on that song though is really a conspiracy.
Right. It's all a fact.
I mean, it's like documented, official fact. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's kind of part of my thing is that I think that there's enough documented, official, verifiable facts for us to get active.
Right.
You know what I mean? The conspiracy thing is good if it helps, you know, kind of give a bigger perspective to the work, but it's still really about the work.
Right.
And the conspiracy stuff can divide us if we're not careful, because there are some people that aren't ready for that.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like, if they're just even looking at like, how come they won't raise the minimum wage? How come we can't have the job bill? How come none of the bankers that are kicking people out of their houses, how come none of them have gone to jail? You know, these are basic stories you can read in the newspaper.
Right.
So if people are willing to get active based on what's in the newspaper, which they should, you know what I mean? Like, there's enough in the newspaper to get, you know, active.
But you seem to bring consciousness to it. You seem to highlight that. You know what I'm saying? Are you speaking for those people who?
I'm speaking for myself.
Oh, I heard.
I have anger and hurt for other people being treated bad.
Right.
But I can't speak for them. But I can speak out of my own anger and my own, my own sense of, despair that people are suffering. You know what I mean? The community that produced me is suffering. And I'm only even if I do okay, and I'm not like, rich and famous, but I'm saying I do okay. You know what I mean? I do all right. I'm very happy about what I'm able to do business-wise and stuff, and with my personal life. But I'm only as healthy and happy as the community that is responsible for creating me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm speaking from my own pain about what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. It seems to hit home with a lot of other people's pain too. That's when I started looking into things like the straw man technique and all those things that was going on. And then I fell into your song, which was like right down the line. And I was like, there's a whole new generation of commentary hip hop. That's what
Absolutely.
So is that what we could call it? Is commentary hip hop?
I would say so. I would say, you know, it's a culture, and like culture is supposed to reflect all of the needs and all the aspects of the people. So, you know, in traditional cultures, you had songs and dances that were about harvesting food.
Right.
Dances that were about, you know, music for marriage, music for when it's time to go fight a battle.
Right.
Music for, you know, spiritual, ceremonial stuff. You have music for every part of life.
Right.
And then, you know, you had the music of the fest, you know, the feast that was just about partying.
Right, right.
Well, people, that's what hip hop started out being. We had Public Enemy, Slick Rick, of course, Ice, you know what I'm saying? We had gangster rap, we had, you know, political rap.
So who are some of your heroes that you lean toward?
Chuck D, Rakim, KRS.
Okay, we actually just talked to Chuck D like last year, I believe, also.
That's a dear friend. So hip hop originally had all that when it was just the people and the culture controlling it. But then once the companies got a hold of it, they don't think that they can sell, you know, conscious rap or happy rap to the masses, because they don't think that the masses want
Which brings
that.
me to the question: how does a hip hop artist in today's atmosphere even make money?
But I'm saying it's all independent now. And so artists like me and Immortal Technique and Atmosphere and Merce, like Sage Francis, like we started out doing independent 10, 11, 12 years ago.
Right, but y'all rap players.
A lot of us are, but it's a lot of independent, you know. And so, you know, now that's the model for the way that the music business goes.
Right.
Because it used to be we were doing that because we couldn't get a record deal.
Right, right.
You know, and so now nobody's getting record deals.
Right.
Except for people, all the guys that get signed, they built their own career independently and then somebody signs them.
All right, so the independent artists, how are they actually selling records?
Well, it's tough, man. Like the main thing is that you gotta have fans that really care, because nowadays all music is free unless you want to buy it. So people only want to buy the music if they want to be a part of it. They want to like hold it in their hand and own it in their house, and like, you know. So the way that we do it is, you know, we make our packaging really amazing.
Right.
A lot of times we'll do like vinyl, and people will buy the vinyl as a collector's item.
Right.
But then it comes with a download card, so you can download the MP3s, high quality too.
Right, right.
So you get both, you know what I mean? A lot of touring, like touring is really what it is, man. Like touring is how.
So the music business actually went back to where it began, because when it began, artists only made money on their live shows pretty much, and the companies made money on the records, and it was just used for promotional items.
Yeah, yeah.
So nowadays it's back to the concerts are making the money,
Yeah.
and the records are promotional items again.
And the merchandise. Yeah.
Merchandising.
Yeah. So, you know, t-shirts, stuff like that.
Okay, so you're in the Islamic faith, and you've been in it since you were 15.
Yeah.
And what
20
made you
years.
choose the name Brother Ali?
I was given the name Ali
Okay.
when I became Muslim. Or I was given a couple of choices, but they were leaning heavy on Ali, and I was leaning towards that too.
Because of Muhammad Ali?
Exactly.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so in a sense I'm named after Muhammad Ali, because that's why, when that name came up, that's why I was like, yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
And so, you know, my friends were all in the street, and I was in the street with them before I became Muslim, and that's part of why I became Muslim.
Right.
Because, you know, when I was a kid, Islam was something that people in the street respected.
Right.
And so if you really were about it, they would respect the fact that you didn't want to go rob the store with them anymore, or that you didn't want to shoot dice with them anymore, or whatever. And I didn't feel right doing that stuff anyway. I did it because my friends were doing it. And so, you know, when I would come around, once I became Muslim and they saw that it was a real thing and that I was really dedicated and committed, they started saying, oh man, don't roll them dice when Brother Ali is here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So my name,
policing themselves.
my name was Ali, but like Brother Ali became this term that they used for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they'd be like, oh man, don't smoke that weed around Brother Ali. Brother Ali don't want that weed smoking his nostrils. You know what I'm saying? So that was like the.
So he was Brother Ali, which is a nice fitting name to tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying?
And actually, when I started back, like I took some time off from rapping when I was like 18. Like I did it real heavy from like 13 or really like 8 to 18, and then I took a few years away from it.
Right.
And then when I started kind of getting back into it, I was teaching a class of kids, and I was like, what should I call myself as a rapper? Like, what should my rap name be? And this little girl was like, what do you mean, Brother Ali?
Wow,
Like,
that was it right
she was
there.
like, you're Brother Ali. What would you call yourself? You know what I'm saying? I was like, yes, ma'am. All right.
All right, another sad question. Is Nardwuar really psychic? Was he just dropping it on you like that, or were you shocked, or did he really?
Nardwuar has he's got his ways of getting information out of people. You know what I mean?
Right.
He just knows a lot of people, and he does the thing where he gives people gifts.
Right. I saw that. He's hooking you up.
Right. And then then you give him information about your friends. He hasn't hit me up for any, so I don't know that that's how he does it.
Right.
But I mean, if he hit me up, like if he was gonna interview one of my good friends and was like, "What can you tell me about this dude?" I would give him some stuff.
Right. He was blowing you away though. I saw him. He was like.
That's what he does with everybody.
That was amazing. Yeah. So, do you have any shows or anything like that, like video shows or anything, or on that level, or you just doing music?
Just doing music. And I do a lot of lectures and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I do like activism and organizing and stuff like that.
You talk at prisons and stuff like that too?
I have, not as much as I want to. I want to do a lot more.
Right.
I used to do, before I started touring really heavy, I did like a weekly thing at the Young Men's Correctional Facility in Minnesota. And since then I've done workshops and stuff like that, but I want to do a lot more.
Right. So where do you see yourself 5 years from now? What do you think you'll be doing 5 years from now?
I mean, I'll still be making music. That'll still be my main thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if the speaking and writing, like I write articles and blogs and stuff like that. I just started working on a book, and I hopefully people like that.
What's the name of the book?
I haven't decided yet. Okay. I have a couple options, but.
All right, so this is Bill. I'm talking with my man, Brother Ali. I've been waiting to do this forever, to tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? One of my hip-hop heroes right here.
Yes, sir, Brother Bill.
All right?
Appreciate it.
Brother Ali, what made you different than everybody else in the neighborhood?
Well,